What's happening? Benton here, going live early, as is my custom. And the windshield is fucking filthy. I was looking at the comments from yesterday. Apparently that was noticed. Out of sight, out of mind. Once I close the curtains in the front, I tend to forget about the windshield. Certainly had the time and the inclination to clean the windshield at the end of my shift yesterday. Well, actually, that wasn't even a shift. Rolling out of the truck stop here in Effingham. Anybody cares? I rolled out on stealth mode because they were already circling, trying to look for any probing for weakness, trying to find a spot to back into. Since I guess all these truck stops are jammed full. Certainly looks that way. Is that a good sign for the economy? I don't know. I'm long since past identifying with the strength of the American economy. Oh, and this is what usually happens. It's like, can I think of everything that needs to be moved from the sleeper up front to the cab where I can reach it? We've left the charger in the back, so probably haven't even got rolling yet. Gonna have to pull over here. The StreamYard eats this battery real quick. Give me just a second here. I don't even know if I want to climb down into that. Good Lord. Yeah, I guess we'll try it. Oh, man. Off-roading. All right. BRB, folks. All right, folks. Good to see everybody. I see Rob Cleveland in the house. I know Jessica Jane was here earlier. Once I get on the road here, you think I'd have these interchanges memorized, but once I get past this interchange up here, I'll actually be able to read the live chat, or glance at it rather. Thanks, y'all. Thanks for joining me. Much appreciated. Truckers finally out of limbo. This is my first day back, just on my normal schedule, waking up at a truck stop somewhere general vicinity of midnight and going through the morning routine. Hilariously, earlier I had made a bunch of coffee, so I had 12 ounces of coffee in my glass tumbler, and I wasn't watching what I was doing, and I spilled it fucking everywhere. I actually dumped it out. Most of it went onto my sleeping bag, which usually I roll my sleeping bag up and throw it in the stuff sack first thing. But all the sitting around combined with my weight loss, I needed something thicker to sit on back there in the sleeper. So once it dries out, I guess I'll go back to getting it out of harm's way in the morning. I think we're going 70 west. Yeah, that's what we're doing. All right. Get this chat pulled up. Yeah, I definitely do a lot better when I can do my thing here. Yes, sir. EBT, Clay, what's happening? Good to see you, brother. Croco, what's happening, partner? Always good to see David Croco. The aforementioned Mr. Cleveland. And then we got a couple of ladies in the house. Always good to see the ladies, Jessica Jane and Tranquil Vortex. Trying to decide what I want to do this weekend. We'll see what my company says today. They haven't told me what my next load is yet. I think by now they're probably just astonished that I'm not quitting. Maybe they just assume I'm going back to the terminal to clean out my truck. Well, actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, that's what I told my dispatcher yesterday, that I had to go by the terminal, but I didn't mean to quit my job. I meant to pick up some Amazon packages. And I've sort of been going back and decoding all this several days of limbo and spurging out on the live the other day. And then yesterday, if anybody remembers, I did this live stream where I went through all of my health woes, and more or less constructed how I got to this place. I went back and saw some of Mitchell's comments, and one thing is I try not to overreact because I don't know what I was saying when he typed the comment. So, but that's why the title of the video, and I'm not sure how much I'm actually going to talk about mental health. But he said something about untreated mental illness. It's like, well, actually, I was describing part of the years of treating my own mental health, which, let's be honest, since I'm never going to go on any meds, if you take meds off the table for a mental health professional, the fact is I am actually at an advantage over them because I have access to my thoughts and my feelings and my physicality. They don't. So they are necessarily, a counselor or a therapist would necessarily be dependent on what I can tell them, and then, what they can detect through my physicality, my body language, their own intuition and such. So when we talk about, this is untreated mental illness, what that means is somebody who's not on meds. It's like, yeah, but I'm never going to be on meds. And I firmly believe that I was not sent to this realm to go on to psych med. And now we see that supposedly Gen Z or whatever, like over half of them are on psych med. And like half of that generation already has a formal mental health diagnosis. But take away the medication, and what does the mental health system have to offer? I would say little to nothing. Now, not everybody has the advantage of being very analytical and able to observe what's going on, and like I am, right? And a lay expert in human psychology. So I'm actually going back over the events of the recent days and figuring out just exactly what in the hell happened. So that's always an interesting experience. And then realizing, well, I have control of my anger very easily in one sense, because when I just dumped the 12 ounces of coffee all over the sleeper cab, some of which soaked parts of my precious cardboard, most of which went directly onto my sleeping bag. Oh, and the heater doesn't work. So I'm like, okay, now I got to try to go to sleep tonight. Is the sleeping bag even going to be dry? Might have to stop and wash it. Whatever that is, that beginning process of anger, I have no problem, heading that off without suppressing it and repressing it. Because as we've talked about, repression always harmful to the individual. Uh, yeah, and I think what we've seen over the last several years is many folks, whatever they were dealing with before the events, that was put on steroids more or less, right? And let's face the reality that there's damn near zero people who live in the streets for 6 straight years and then just lift themselves with the help of the resources they can access, of course, but who then manage to just lift themselves out of that situation and back into the workforce after not being in the workforce for 10 years, and to do this without becoming addicted to substances, although alcohol certainly played a part. Although it was not an issue, I had no substance abuse issues at the time that I went into truck driving. And then went into an industry where one of the first things they told me when I got my first job was, well, 90% of you ain't finna be here in a year. Well, challenge accepted. Challenge accepted. So every time I wanted to freak the fuck out and quit or walk away, well, I was in a position where I had to deal with it. What is that? That's called managing my own mental health. But again, why would I go to a therapist when all they're going to do is attempt to medicate me? Well, if I say, well, doc, doc would be a psychiatrist. Well, actually, I'm not going to ever take any of your meds. What now? Oh, but some CBT? Pretty sure I could read some books on CBT and just do it to myself. See what I'm saying? Like, what can the therapist offer me that I can't offer myself? I would say absolutely nothing. And believe me, I understand how this comes across when I speak this way. I understand how it sounds, which is why I can never actually be crazy, because crazy people can't tell the difference. They don't know how they come across. They don't know how they sound to other people. Well, some of us know, we just don't care. It's not really my problem. But I do think and that's something I was working with in my years on the streets, was just a lot of these stigmas around mental health, a lot of shame, a lot of taboo. For me, it's easier to I would rather just talk about it. And that's what I tend to do with taboos in general. It's like, let's just talk about the taboo. There's the proverbial 400-pound gorilla in the room that nobody will talk about. Well, Benton will just come in and start talking about, hey, what's up with that 400-pound gorilla over there? How about we talk about that? We could just stand around and not talk about that gigantic gorilla over there. Yeah. And good to see everybody doing good. I'm looking at the chat. Seems like folks are vibing in the chat. Always happy to see that. What's up, Mr. Murphy? Appreciate you, EBT, listening to your guy, Benton. Well, so when I go through this, and some people would probably say, well, what's the big deal, with what I went through this weekend? Well, with somebody who's afflicted in the way I'm afflicted, the fact that I was sitting there fully loaded on Friday and I was going to roll out on my normal schedule Saturday morning, and then I had loads. I had a dropping hook in Dallas, so I had Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday to just do my thing, and then didn't really have to do anything until Tuesday. Then I delivered to the retail store. Then I was most likely going to do a 34-hour restart, although not necessarily. Exactly. Shout out to Egregore Norman Humphreys. Real work comes from within, and I'm still doing that work. And I think this is where we fool ourselves with the mental health system, is this idea of, okay, go into this process, and then that's a false light at the end of the tunnel. It's like, okay, go undergo this process, subject yourself to these. By the way, one of the establishments of the beast system. We're anti inoculation, but go ahead and take the beast systems, eat the beast system psych candy. right? I mean, do you see the schism? Do you see what not we, but do you see what people are doing to themselves? And I would say it's even worse in the so-called truther community, because at least the general public just more or less just says, oh, well, yeah, mental health system, oh, well, every once in a while that goes awry, and maybe, they've got some schizophrenic in their family, or, maybe somebody they know is living in a single room occupancy on seven different meds, and, can barely hold a conversation because they're all depressed and they're sedated on these medications. So we'll analyze and we'll critique and we'll, shake our heads at the beast system, and oh my God, when will these people ever wake up and fix all this? But then, oh, you're having struggles. Oh, how about you go to the psych doctor and get on some psych meds and eat Pfizer's eat Pfizer's psych candy, and whoever else makes psych med. All those. Let's go to big pharma to fix our brains. It's a great plan. Because just go to a psychiatrist, tell them your issues, and then say, oh, and by the way, doc, I'll never eat one of your pills. What now, doc? What's the prognosis? Do you feel confident in your ability to alleviate my suffering in the realm, doc? I don't think they'd really be able to do much of nothing. But, obviously help me. Well, this is and I call it the disability cycle of misery, because I certainly met folks who were diagnosed in their teen years, and now they get a check. Well, look, I'm all for people getting money from the government. Hell, we give it to corporations. I'd much rather see it go to a discrete individual than a part of Mussolini's helicopter hand, right? One of the fingers of Mussolini's helicopter hand. Yeah. Oh, goodness. But I'm certain it would have been, and here's what happens. See, I don't know that people understand the disability system with respect to mental health. What it is day one, so I could have went into homelessness. Day one, I could have applied for disability, which is not, it's typically SSI, Social Security Insurance. So what happens is they deny almost everybody immediately out of hand. And then my mom had actually applied for it at some point, but not based on mental issues. And then she's just the type was like, oh, well, they denied me. And then she just went about her life. And I was like, yeah, they turn almost everybody down. Why do they do that? Because it's a system and it's a scam. And America's a nation of scams. So the reason why they do that is because at some point, a lawyer who has a relationship with a judge will get involved, and we got to pay this lawyer. Well, obviously, people who are trying to go on the government teat don't have the money to pay the lawyer. Oh, but we've already started the clock on what? On a big lump sum called back pay, y'all. So the lawyer is more than willing to take on the case and use his connections with the judge and the system. And let's say 1.5 to 2 years has passed. Now the lawyer takes the case. The judge says, okay, give them the SSI. Oh, and we'll backdate it till the date that they originally applied. Bingo, bango, lump sum check. Here you go. We'll break off half of that for the lawyer. See, it's a motherfucking scam from the beginning. See. So then the mentally ill, the so-called mentally ill person gets, I don't know, somewhere around 10 G's, and now they get somewhere around $750 a month, depending on what state. AKA the disability cycle of misery. And now that person has a formal mental health diagnosis and may even be expected to meet with psychiatrists, therapists, go on to meds and such. Shout out to Henry Hopper, my best friend when I was living in the streets out there in Santa Barbara, California. And he had a psychiatrist. And I think he was trying to get on disability. I don't think he had successfully made it yet. But he had an actual psychiatrist who put him on a bunch of meds. Well, Henry was a very intelligent individual, and he knows how to scam a system. He knows how to scam a scam system. So he knew, okay, I need to make them believe that I'm taking these medications. And I need to feed into this doctor's ego. So he would go pick up the medications, but never take the medications. And then he would self-medicate with intravenous methamphetamine and intravenous heroin. Meanwhile, this is a person who both of his parents died by suicide. Well, that word I can't say. They died by self-deletion in mental institutions. Both of his parents separately passed away. So this is obviously a guy who has some issues. Also a guy who graduated with honors in art at UC Santa Barbara, which as much as people want to say, oh, it's a party school. Yeah, it's a party school, but it's also probably top 5 public universities in California, which has probably the best public university system in the country, most likely. So he goes and sees a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is like, "Wow, yeah, you're doing great here. I can't believe how well you're doing." Meaning, oh, I'm such a brilliant psychiatric doctor that look how good I am at my job. This guy was out of his fucking mind 6 weeks ago, and now look at him. Because I knew the exact combination of meds to put him on, and I'll tweak that over time. See. And I'll have a, cursory fucking meeting. I'll have a 45-minute confab with him on some ongoing basis, and build the government. We'll build one of the other fingers of Mussolini's helicopter hand for that. See, scam upon scam upon scam. So strategically minded Benton. And that is my base level of thought. That's where it all starts for me is strategy. So Benton saying, okay, obviously I was having some issues back in the day. I was having some specific issues, and recognizing, okay, assuming the trajectory I'm on continues, at some point, if I don't get this under control myself, I will necessarily have no choice but to go into the mental health system, and who will 100% of the time medicate me. And then Benton's operating a flow chart in his mind, and he gets to the part of the flow chart that says, will you take psych meds, yes or no? And it's like, well, I have to go down the no. So the no leads us back to, well, you better figure it out, partner. You better figure it out, partner. That was the box. So, and then that box led us into, then it's like, are you willing to get it doesn't even matter what box we go to from there. But ultimately that led me, well, let's just go ahead and jump in our car and drive off to the West Coast and immerse ourselves into the street life, which thankfully I am a street person and I'll always have been. I was born a street person for whatever reason. Yep, Santa Barbara. Shout out to Santa Barbara, one of my favorite places in the country. Love it. Great place. Shout out to the east side of Santa Barbara, by the way. Shout out to the Santa Barbara Rescue Mission. Yes, indeed. What I like about Santa Barbara, them rich folks, they didn't give a fuck what I did in their town as long as I left them the fuck alone and didn't tear shit up. You want to go be a bum in the streets? Go for it, partner. We don't care. Just leave us out of it. They definitely weren't looking down their noses at me. They were too busy counting their millions. It was the poor bastards living from paycheck to paycheck trying to survive in a very expensive place who looked down their noses at me. And I'm looking at them like, yeah, motherfucker, I come live here for free. You're the jackass making $250K a year and can barely afford to live here. And that was pre-event of the last few years. Imagine what it's like now. Meanwhile, with absolutely no hope of ever owning a home there, unless they happen to, start some kind of business, get bought out or whatever, which I think is what this trucking company is hoping for that I'm working for. That's my observations of the situation as it's unfolding. I think they're more or less tapped out mentally and spiritually, living for the weekend. And that was the original title of this live stream. They're just living for the weekend. So what happened with my mental health over the weekend is that I subjected myself to this process whereby when I swapped trailers with these people on Friday, I knew something was wrong. I knew I was not being told the truth. I knew, okay, they're just telling me what they need to tell me so they can go home for the weekend because they're living for the weekend. They work 8 to 5. I used to live that way. I hate that lifestyle, living for the weekend. And they're not realizing that they're merely kicking the can down the road. But then, see, this all interfaces with my narcissism, which is how dare they? Don't they know it's me? Like, yeah, they know it's you, Benton. They don't give a fuck. They care about them. They're trying to go home. But intellectually, I understand this, but emotionally, it's a very infantile emotionalism at the level of, now, how dare they do this to me? Don't they know who the fuck they're dealing with here? Right. Meanwhile, all they're trying to do is keep the team drivers from quitting, because on some level they are more important to me, to the company, because a husband-wife team, that's the holy grail, right? It's almost impossible to hire a husband-wife team. Damn near impossible. Yeah, they want to make, exactly, EBT. They're just trying to make it to recess. Now, see, I could have just said, no, I'm not doing that. But part of me, I am kind-hearted. And I'm recognizing in the moment, oh, these people just want to go home and relax, and they've had a stressful week. Because this is a nightmare industry, and we're dealing with brokers, and the brokers are just some of the worst human beings you'll ever come across, the people that work for brokers. And I've had the broker call me before, and they say, how you doing? I said, well, about as bad as I can do, because I'm talking to a broker. And then just long pause, and they're just like, where do you go from there? Oh, I need to be nice to the broker for some reason. And this company's at least figured out, don't let Benton talk to the brokers. So, and since then, I haven't talked to brokers very much. Yep, go home and play with your toys. That's right. Exactly, EBT. So what happened is, instead of putting on my big boy pants and just dealing with my feelings, I put them into suspended animation over the weekend. And so at some point, in anticipation of what I was about to get into with my company, now that some of those feelings started bleeding out, which was the hour and 45-minute spurg on the live stream, which, to my credit, I do think I recovered from halfway decently, although I was more or less worthless for the whole rest of the day. Yeah, not the broker. That's right. Well, just total lying scumbag. Total lying scumbag. Yeah, which is fine, but just keep them away from me. It's not my job to deal with the lying scumbag brokers. I'm the truck driver. I'm the one foolish and ignorant and stupid enough to drive a truck. Well, so then Monday comes, and they've lied to me and told me that I have an appointment Monday morning at 7 a.m. Well, I know I don't have no appointment. These people are just hoping, because remember, living for the weekend. So part of living for the weekend is these people are worthless on Monday. I mean, they're good for nothing. They might as well just give them Monday off also, but then that would just turn Tuesday into Monday, right? So there's no version of anybody who works in an office actually interfacing with another person that works in an office and getting something done. Like that's more, but I'm the person who can pick up and deliver the load 7 days a week. See, and I recognize out of this whole equation, I'm the person who's consistently productive. These bozos in offices, it really is office space. They do maybe 15 minutes of actual work in a given day, maybe, possibly. You can watch Office Space and that whole scene where the main character is describing how he approaches his workday, but he's just being totally honest about it. Like, yeah, that's funny, but that's also reality. I used to work in offices. I've had office jobs. Hell, I had my own office at one point. And I don't mean I mean like I was the only person in the office. I was the office. The company was somewhere in Dallas, and I had a satellite office because we were working with Walmart. The company was working with Walmart, partnered with Walmart. God help you, by the way, if you're ever dumb enough to be partnered with Walmart, who has one of the worst corporate cultures I've ever seen. Oh my God, terrible. Brutal bullies. Brutal. They don't give a fuck. So thank God, just imagine how enraged I would have been if I actually thought I had an appointment Monday. So of course I'm not even able to get unloaded Monday. So and by the way, the team would have fucking quit if they had been lied to and told, hey, okay, just we know it sucks. Just please, wait out the weekend, and then Monday they'll unload you, and then you'll go pick up your next load and business as usual. They would have quit. There's no fucking there's no question about it. There's no way you're going to let a husband and wife team sit around and then lie to them, and then Monday morning. And I don't think my dispatcher knew she was lying to me. She's not intelligent. Well, she's smart. She's too naive to understand that. No, that's just, they told you a bunch of lies because they wanted to go home for the weekend. Meanwhile, 10 years out of the workforce, 6 straight years in the streets, this is part of the reason why. Because a lifetime of this, being very good at my job, going to work in my teens, consistently employed until my mid-30s, right? This was a lifetime of subjecting myself to fucking hot garbage and nonsense. So I recognize the reason why nothing happened for me on Monday was solely based on these people who live on the weekend are good for nothing on a Monday. So much so that I know if I have to call somewhere and try to get something done, don't even attempt it on Monday. That's ridiculous. Maybe Tuesday afternoon. Really, you want to catch them Wednesday morning after they've had a chance to rub the sleep out of their eyes, about 10 to 10:30 their time, wherever they're at, because you got to make sure they're not headed for the early lunch. But then also, once they fill their belly full of a high carb meal for lunch, now they're in a fucking diabetic coma by early afternoon. See, I mean, what is this? Seriously, I mean that's what this is. Who would want to live that way? Not me, but a lot of people do live this way. Yeah. Well, see, I don't think the countries are fucked, Tranquil Vortex. The fact is, most of the trucks did stop. It was called the lockdowns, and the fact is, a whole bunch of truck drivers who had used to do long haul, and now they had these local jobs. All of that shit just stopped. Now the food service kept going, but it got really pared down to the bare necessities. But anybody that was doing any sort of local trucking that wasn't involved in directly in the fucking food supply, that shit stopped. And maybe just the very vital basic shit. And there was 3 weeks I was doing long haul, and I worked every day of that except for 3 days of breakdowns And then I had one 24-hour period where they couldn't find me a load. Right when the shit kicked off, right when lockdown happened, I had one 24-hour period where I was not assigned a load. And right as I sent the fucking message to the company, hey, give me my $100 layover, they were sending me a load because somebody realized, oh shit, if we don't send this guy a load real quick, we're gonna owe him $100. Somebody that's gonna go against their numbers for their bonus, right? Meanwhile, they loved me because somebody was maxing their shit out based on the way I worked. I was the number one driver in the company, meaning that I maxed out the dispatcher's bonus. That's what that means. And probably made up for, some other bozos who were slacking. And then if you see what happened in the port's tranquil vortex, I mean, the port's more or less shut down effectively. In comparison to the normal amount of volume they do, it's the ports. But what I was saying is, yeah, for about 3 straight weeks, I could drive through any major city in this country, including New York City. I don't go to California, so I have no idea what LA was like, but I'm assuming it was the same. You could just drive right through any major city, any time of the day. Nobody on the road. I drove right through New York City, and almost nobody was on the road. I mean, it was damn near zombie apocalypse. It's damn near, what you see in these movies, right after some sort of huge disaster, and the gigantic interstates are just more or less empty. So that shit really did happen, lest we forget. And then slowly over time, things started to come back to some degree. And now it's not quite what it was before the event, but it's getting there. The fact that these truck stops back in Effingham were jam full, but then before the event, pretty much all the truck stops across the country were jam full. Which then again, if it was a planned event, surely whoever was behind the scenes maneuvering things knew, okay, we need to really jam this fucking supply. We need to jam this supply chain so that once this shit shuts down, will be a period of time that the system can operate on the goods already in the system. Meanwhile, look at how many of these businesses got to clean out their warehouses. Because under normal circumstances, they don't ever have the time or the luxury or the manpower. Now there's nothing in our warehouse, and now we get a chance to sort of revamp our procedures. We can retool, all of this. Like, I was very aware of that as it was happening. I mean, they say never let a good crisis go to waste. Well, of course, all that happened. Why wouldn't it? And I think part of that is retooling based on, at some point, Bitten's job, I don't care what anybody says, at some point, most of my job will be automated. Most of it. Not yet, but at some point, it is going to happen. And people can say what they want about Trump. Trump let the country shut down. I don't care what anybody says. Trump done that. Oh, well, he had to. Well, okay, well, good is he? If he doesn't have a choice. So if he has no choice and is unable to help the people, what good is he? Oh, well, he says words and makes us feel some type of way. All right, well, that's fine. That's fair. What's the relevance of your stupid fucking feelings at an individual level when it comes to the goddamn supply chain? Oh, it's meaningless. Oh, okay, all your mom and pops are out of business now? But you, the masses, allowed Walmart, Amazon, and all these other corporations to operate. Okay, well, we deserve what we get. That's a vote for corporate America. That's a vote. That's Americans voting with their feet for Mussolini's helicopter hand. That's what that is. We're saying we want Office Depot. We want Target. We want Walmart. We want Amazon. We don't want the local diner. You know, we want McDonald's. We want Domino's Pizza. Who, surprise, surprise, right before the shit kicked off, was advertising, "Hey, come be a manager for Domino's. We started $100K a year to manage a Domino's," which I think they saw the way things were going. See, they knew on some level our business finna explode. See, now you can say, "Oh well, are you saying they were in on it?" And then you're saying they kept a secret. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that whoever operates, whoever at the top that operates Domino's was told, "Hey, get ready. Something's about to happen. So get ready." And that can be done in very vague ways. And then that trickles down. Do you think the fucking VP who's trying to who's trying to climb the corporate ladder and became VP because he knows how to climb, well, he or she, because they know how to climb the corporate ladder, are they really going to ask questions when whoever's above them is like, "Hey man, I need you to make sure we've got managers in place because the shit's about to pop off business wise"? Do you think they stop and say, "Well, why is that?" Do you think they stop to be skeptical? Or do they just do what the fuck they're told, knowing, "Hey, if I do a good enough job, maybe I can be CEO one day"? Seems obvious to me. Well, that's the thing is, Tranquil Vortex says, "I told my sister the small businesses will be wiped out, and she just thought I was mad." See, they think that until they see it happen. And then once it happens, it's neither here nor there that you predicted it. That literally means nothing. That's a nothing burger to them. There's no connection between what you said years ago and what's happening now. This is just what's happening. The fact that you called it is a zero. So now I'm like, well, why even try to call stuff if I'm not going to get credit for it? But yeah, I hope they bring Trump back to really crush these fools' hopes. Because some of these people, they can deal with how horrible shit is as long as they can blame the Democrats. But what about when Big Daddy gets back in there and the shit just not only does it not improve, it gets worse. Now, some things will get better, obviously. Hell, bring him back for another event. This was number 19. Bring back Trump and then let's do it all again and call it number 20. I'd love to see that. Yeah, let's give him like 6 months of prosperity and kicking ass in the economy, and then let's go ahead and let him shut the country down again, and just bring it all back, but worse. Fuck it, let's do it all, man. Bring it, because if you think they're done with us, now they've fully indoctrinated the young people. This is just normal to them now. So, obviously the system can wait several years if it wants to, and then it can, the 6 and 7 year olds, it can just go ahead and they won't be programmed necessarily, but they'll be young enough they can be programmed with the mask and the jabs and all of that, and the shutdown of the lockdowns. And then the young adults will already have been indoctrinated, and it'll be normal to them. See, I'm the dinosaur at 47 years old. It's people my age and older that are just really fucking beside themselves over this thing. The younger folks, they just deal with it and move on to the next thing. I feel bad for some of the young men, around 20, because it's, bad for them, obviously, to have gone through this, in their prime or whatever, or in their youth, to waste that many years of their youth. Well, yeah, and it is insane, EBT. Absolutely, it's insane. But that's the human adapts, and this is what I was talking about early on. Was and back to the mental health. The general public is de facto insane. I mean, they are effectively, the masses of people in the United States, they are insane. I mean, based on their behavior. So, of course. And I don't think it's a coincidence, by the way, that Benton got his act together just in time to not have to do 30 months of this event and try to live in the streets. See, as bad as my experience was, and the fact that I still almost drank myself to death and everything I've been through at a personal level, I did have a refuge known as either living in a truck or had enough money to just go fuck off to a motel room somewhere. Imagine if I had to do 30 months in the motherfucking streets. I really wouldn't have made it. There's no fucking way I would have made it. Or I would still be here, but I would no longer be in a recognizable form. And by the way, look at what people have gone through. And I think the starkest example is, if I can find some pictures of me, although I did live in the streets for 6 straight years, which it was hard on me, obviously. But if I look at a picture of me in my early 40s, some people thought I was handsome and I was vital and, looked very healthy, right? Versus what I am now, I'm just look like, I don't even know what. It ain't good. Whatever it is. But it's not about me on that level. But look at Talcott, man. Just go to Talcott's channel and look at his thumbnails from his live streams. Just the deterioration. And that, by the way, that's all during the 30 months that EBT's referencing. I mean, just look at, and this, we're not the only ones. Many people have rapidly declined, and a lot of folks just, maybe they did get off of opiates. Maybe they did, go through recovery. They were in recovery, and they're hanging on by a thread, and they're going to make it. Oh, well, guess what? Now you're fucking 12 steps. Either it's completely shut down, your meetings, or we're doing them over Zoom, or, okay, you can go, but now you got to cover your face. Okay, so let's have fucking a group therapy session, NAAA, whatever, but I can't see nobody's facial expressions when they share their testimony, and we're all fucking bonding over the grief of no longer being able to medicate ourselves, and we're just going to deal with that raw emotion long enough to finally process it all. Yeah, good luck doing that without being able to see somebody's facial expression. Oh, well, hey, somebody's been on methadone. Oh, methadone clinic. Well, that's shut down. These crazy homeless people in the streets going to these day rooms every day, getting a change of clothes, maybe taking a shower, being able to get a haircut, being able to get a bus pass. That's a wrap. Being able to get these meals, half of that's gone overnight. We'll just shut that down. I knew this. I knew this as it was happening. I knew this was going on. And I am a sensitive individual. It hurt me that all that was going on. And if I didn't have the refuge of this big rig or a motel room, I don't think I would have made it. And the refuge of the bottle, to be honest with you. I weren't strong enough. As strong as I am, and I guess I was strong enough. I chose not to be, I guess, in those moments. There you go, Rob Cleveland. Yeah, it's Phoenix rising up out of the ashes. Yeah, and it is that is a tool to work with. That level of and I call it, that was maximum spiritual attack as far as I'm concerned. We meaning the people were faced with maximum spiritual attack, and I don't think that's debatable for a prolonged period of time. And a lot of folks just simply did not make it. And a lot of folks are still here physically, but, where are they at mentally? See, my path is progress. The fact is, if I look at where I was when I first went in, it would have been, I don't know, somewhere around 2010, I guess. So in those 13 years, I've come a long way, baby. And I ain't never going to let anybody make me feel some type of way about what I went through, because I am a much, I'm just a much more effective human being. And when I talk about all this strategy, and I talk about every man hath not the same office, and people like myself, and especially Paul Enslaved, talk about, you know, knowledge of self and so-called self-realization and all this, you know, that I wasn't going to make it without getting to know who in the fuck I am, right? And without taking ownership of my own mental health. Or I could farm it out to a system that will happily, I can farm it out to one of the fingers of Benito Mussolini's helicopter hand, and that thing will happily warehouse me, give me a, by the way, universal, not a universal, but provide me with a basic income, warehouse me in a single room occupancy somewhere, a box in a building, you know, and as long as I show up for my scheduled appointments with a mental health professional, as long as I at least pretend to be eating the fucking pills. Well, I met those people. I would go to the public library in Eugene, Oregon, and sometimes I would meet some person who was living exactly that way. Somebody in their 20s who probably would have a girlfriend or a wife, who probably would have a job that they at least got a positive feeling from. Because the fact is, I was out of the workforce for 10 years. I do feel better about myself when I go to work in the beast system, when I pay taxes. I feel better. Now, however Mitchell feels about the fact that I value my spotless criminal record, and I value my spotless driving record, and I value my ability to hold a CDL and a valid DOT medical card, guess what? Fuck you, Mitchell, because you can't do none of that, partner. They won't let you drive a truck, Mitchell. You can't pass a DOT physical. So I don't look down on you, but you're going to look down on me? Yeah. Fuck you, you bozo. By the way, I'll still be your friend. I'll still have you on the show. I'll still treat you like my equal. But on that level, fuck you. Because you ain't got it like I got it. But you can post a snarky comment, oh, you value how the state views you? Yeah, I do, because I'll necessarily have to. If you think you're going to opt out of this system, that's a motherfucking fantasy. That can't happen. So yeah, the fact that I have to interface with the beast system, and I'm so those benefits accrue to me. See, I get the benefit of having done that. So part of the benefit is most weeks between $1,100 and $1,350 hits my account, while I avoid the very difficult situation if I had to rent a place because it's now so expensive, and the fact that I never bothered to maintain my credit rating. So even if I have the money to rent an apartment, it's very difficult to actually rent a place with my credit. See all the stones I'm killing? See all the birds I'm killing with that stone? Meanwhile, I look at Mitchell. Mitchell, you look lethargic and depressed, man. That's what you look like. again, happy to be your internet friend, happy to interface with you, happy to have you on the show, happy to treat you as my equal, right? But you look lethargic and depressed. But then you also lash out in anger sometimes, which is fine. I do the same thing. But then want to make comments about how I'm living. Meanwhile, I don't give a fuck how you're living. You say it works for you, that's good enough for me, right? But like I said, the benefits of what I went through, what I subjected myself to overcome what I needed to overcome, to transcend, to go to the next level, by the way, which I have done and will continue to do, that I get the benefits of that. That's for me and me only. Now, maybe I can share it with you folks, which I'm happy to do. But as noted, you can't separate the good from the bad. The fact that I will spurg out on occasion and maybe behave in an antisocial way some of the time, fail to deal with my issues that are rooted in my own narcissism. How dare they? Don't they know who they're doing this to, right? That's a very infantile, it's not a thought, by the way. Intellectually, I don't think that way at all. That's an emotion. But meanwhile, the general public literally can't distinguish what they're thinking from what they're feeling. What's up, name? Did not, actually. No, I did not. I don't watch QOC, but maybe I'll go see if I can find that video. That'd be interesting. What a bozo. I'm assuming he doesn't know anything about it, but yeah, I'd like to see that. And I'm a little behind in the chat, so apologies for that. I'll see if I can catch up real quick. But, the fact that some people have internalized these ideas of, needing to interface with the trust and the beneficiary and, apply for a driver's license, but then don't open the letter and return it to sender. That's fine. That has nothing to do with me whatsoever. None of that involves me. I'm not trying to join Team Sobsit, come in for the big win. See, I don't think that's a thing. If other people wanted to subscribe to hot garbage nonsense, that's on them. Meanwhile, I understand there is validity, legally speaking, and spiritually, by the way. And that's the only reason Paul ever got my attention in the first place, was his ability on the Crow 777 podcast, where he connected the legal issues and the Sobsit type of stuff, and all this straw man fucking all caps name and all this horse shit. He connected and the legal system itself, he connected all that to spiritual law and spiritual principles very astutely. So I recognize, okay, this is a person of some level of attainment, knowledge, and understanding, which I will always respect, regardless of how the person chooses to come across or interfaces, right? So the fact that I do notice some certain tendencies about his personality, well, who cares? I mean, I also have tendencies within my personality that may not be positive, so what? And that's why Yurt's effort to destroy Paul ultimately, well, it was two things. Number one, it was Yurt's lack of a killer instinct. And number two, it was the fact that, that's not the full story. The actual person, the deficits of personality, that's not the entire story, right? And the lack of Yurt's not having a killer instinct. That's a art of war, homie. If you have the ability to kill the opponent and you don't, well now, but maybe he wants to deal with whatever he's dealing with. And now as far as I'm concerned, he is trying to become number two and usurp Z. But maybe I'm wrong. That's just how I see it. Doesn't mean I'm right. That's a viewpoint. It's up to you folks to decide if it means anything. But if I'm dumb enough to give a flying fuck about what other people think about me driving for commerce, but see, I'm kind of defeating them at their own game, because it's like, yeah, when I drive my personal vehicle, I'm not driving in commerce, and technically speaking, all of these laws and codes and policies don't apply to me. Well, yeah, that would be true, except I sold my personal vehicle and I only drive for commerce. So all of the shit does apply to me. So what are we even talking about? So I don't even have to worry about it when I come up to the border. When I come up to the border checkpoint, are you a U.S. citizen? Well, yeah, I am. Well, I have to be to hold the fucking CMV, as far as I can tell. Well, I'm a U.S. citizen, legally speaking, operating, and I know what they mean by U.S. citizen, and I'm holding a commercial motor vehicle. You know, I have a CMV. I'm sorry, a CDL to drive a CMV. Like I understand what I'm operating with, but again, it's strategic for me. It's strategic based on. It doesn't matter what I do. I cannot opt out of the nightmare dystopian beast system. And Paul can preach all he wants. The motherfucker's talking to us through Alphabet, Google, YouTube's hell pit, which does not in any way negate the validity of his ideas. But that absolutely says, yes, even Paul Enslaved is not able to deliver his message and do what he needs to do outside of the beast system. He must necessarily do these things via the beast system itself. Not only the beast system, I would argue the very belly of the beast. What is more beast-like than Alphabet, Google, YouTube's hell pit? I mean, that's as belly of the beast as it gets, as far as I'm concerned. And it's also, by the way, how I'm talking to you folks. Now, yeah, I could just pay $80 a month for StreamYard, and I could just over time be like, yeah, if you want to hear Benton, he's just on. You just gotta be added to his StreamYard because he's not on YouTube. But I could just drop a YouTube video every now and then saying, "Here's how you find me." Or I could recognize, well, the people are on YouTube, so just go talk to them on YouTube, which is what I'm doing in spite of myself, because I did say at a certain point, I will not put my content on YouTube. Well, here I am. So show me a human, I'll show you a hypocrite. Well, obviously that includes me. Obviously. Yeah, what are we even talking about, partner? Exactly. Yeah, what are we even talking about? Because I recognize that most of the people I interface with can't have 7 different concepts in their mind and deal with one abstraction from each concept and then further abstract off of those. So like layers of abstractions. I understand that most people can't do that. Well, Yippee Skippy Benton can. So what? So fucking what? Who cares? But yeah, so I could mob around talking about common sense. Well, I'd have to be a fool to expect other people to be able to do what my brain can do. Because I don't, every man hath not the same office, and my brain works differently than a lot of people's brain. So fucking what? Who cares? What's it matter? But I'm not dumb enough to expect these other people to be able to figure out what I can figure out. So why would they expect me to be able to figure out what they can figure out? That would be foolish. Meaning there's no such thing as common sense. So when I hear somebody say the phrase common sense, it's like, okay, well, they don't know that is not a thing. But if you say, well, what 85% of the masses all more or less agree is obvious, well, then, yeah, that if you want to call that common sense, well, that exists. That exists. That's the thing. Yeah, things Benton can do, exactly. Well, it does bear repeating, EVP, but yeah. The hilarious part, though, of when I talk that way is that I've worked for years at minimizing my I used to do more or less just do that. Like I was one of these people that I would turn every conversation, at some point I would turn every conversation would become about me and my personality. I can very effortlessly make everything about me. So I've actually limited my propensity to do that thing. But yeah, it does become that at a certain point, things men can do. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And at what point does this just become a support group? Well, not just, but on some level, this probably is a support group. Well, good. Well, I mean, we need support groups, right? Even the hermits, such as myself, could make use of a support group. And here's how confused things can be. I started going to AA meetings in Santa Barbara because I wanted to see my friend Henry Hopper, and I finally ran into him in the streets, and he was so busy and involved in roaming around on meth and heroin, and collecting recycling and doing whatever he had to do. And I was just like, man, I hadn't been to Santa Barbara in a while, and I was like, dude, I want to catch up. And I could tell he was busy. I was like, man, where can I find you? He's like, well, I go to these AA meetings. I was like, okay, where's the AA meeting? So I started going to AA meetings so that I could talk to my friend, right? Well, now I'm the type of person, well, shit, I'm not going to sit, if I'm going to sit through a motherfucking AA meeting, I might as well talk, right? I'm here, I might as well do the thing. So I would, hi, my name is Jason, I'm an alcoholic, blah, 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 the whole thing. Well, at a certain point, because I am a pretty good speaker, certain people started to latch on to my personality. And now it's like, okay, now they're vicariously living through me. But like, I never said I was sober, by the way. There's people that go to AA meetings and keep drinking. Like, that's a thing, man. And it's not necessarily expected that if somebody is going to AA meetings that they're not drinking. But I was drinking in combination with marijuana, meaning I was not getting fucking shit faced. I was drinking like a 24 ounce of what would I have been drinking back then? I don't even remember. Some kind of ice beer. I think that was before my body stopped being able to process malt liquor, because that happened at a certain point. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. Yeah, support group. So, and we need it, obviously. But by the way, I'm not the leader or the therapist. I'm the one who I'm one of you sharing. I'm just one of those people who probably tends to overshare. Right. But so this one person in particular who was a reverso, by the way, a male to female reverso who had become enamored with my personality, at one point was like, after the meeting, was like, well, what do you do to stay so, like, specifically, what's a tip for just basically saying, well, you're sober. I said, well, wait a minute. I never said I was sober. So when did I say I was sober? I said, I'm about to go drink a 24 ounce. What are you talking about? To see that person, and now we get into parasocial relationships, that person built me up into something in my mind that I am not that thing. At no point did I claim, it's like, no, I'm coming here sober. But I drank yesterday, and I'm probably going to drink today. Back then, see, I don't even like talking that way. I'm not going to drink today because I don't drink anymore. My body can no longer process alcohol. But see, back then, that's what I was working with. I was like, what are you talking about? My thing is, like, am I going to go collect enough recycling, or is maybe Henry going to just treat me to a fucking 24 ounce? Or do I have enough money from yesterday's recycling to pay $2.50? Right? Or am I actually going to get drunk and buy a pint of, because it is, Santa Barbara, so you can get an affordable pint of actual real tequila. But that was more of like a once a week, once every 2 weeks. Because see, I've always been drinking, see, but not the. And when I say daily drinker, I guess I should be a little more specific. I'm talking about getting fucking shit faced every day. 12 to 18 drinks a day. That's what I mean by daily drinking. If I have a 24 and a blunt, if I have a 24 half a blunt and then another 24 and a half a blunt, again, to me, that's not even daily drinking. See how things escalate? See how we fool ourselves? See how we make certain choices within our own minds? I'm choosing to see things a certain way. Yeah, there you go. I'm EBT. I'm a fat drunk moron on the internet. Yeah. Thank God for that, EBT, by the way. Thank God for that. What would we do without that? Well, no, thank God I wasn't getting blackout drunk, and I certainly wasn't socializing with the reverso. But name is fantasizing now. Name's fantasizing. So anyway, no, I tended to fuck off to a park somewhere, and remember I had to be sober. Had to be sober enough to actually get a good night's sleep. But yeah, but I like a good buzz as much as the next man. Alcohol, lying, and a reverso. That's right. Well, I wasn't lying. That reverso was lying to itself. The reverso lied to itself because it started to what is that called? It started to idealize me in its own mind, and thus turned me into some ideal version of someone who would be in recovery, which I was not in recovery. And ultimately, the only reason I ever went to an AA meeting was literally to see my friend. That was the only way I could find him, because he was involved in such a process of whatever he was doing, living that intravenous drug user life. Did I just miss my turn? Oh no, that's 270. Never mind. No, I'm still on the right road. Oh, I love marijuana. I actually don't love alcohol. I like getting fucked up though, and alcohol and cannabis is a really good, or marijuana. Every time I say cannabis, they think I mean CBD. Alcohol and marijuana I found to be a very good combo for getting fucked up without, you know, just drinking alcohol, because then if I get fucked up just on alcohol, sloppy, I'm in the streets, it's really too dangerous to just be that intoxicated on a regular basis. Every once in a while, strategically, fine, but not certainly can't risk passing out and then waking up and my backpack's gone, which only ever happened to me once in my 6 straight years of homeless. And even that, alcohol and very strong train wreck oil combo in the state of Washington for that to happen. I thought I was going to sleep. I was actually passing. My passing out happened to coincide with bedtime. If I had realized I was passing out, I think I probably would have just walked around for a couple of hours until I was sober enough to go to sleep. But you play with fire enough times and you will get burned eventually, right? And that helped bring me to this point, so it's not entirely a bad thing. Although about a week before I had the money and my gut was telling me just box up all this gear and ship it off to Arkansas, because it's very nice. It was summertime in Seattle before I went to Spokane, and there's really no reason to have all that gear. I did not need the gear, so probably should have trusted my gut, but I was too cheap to box it up and spend whatever it would have costed to ship it to my mommy's house. That's what I should have done. Oh well. Good to see you, John Wayne, by the way. Good to see you folks in here. Shout out to 19. I am one of the 20, lest we forget. See what the speed limit is here. Oh, it is 65. Yeah, I was wondering why I was going 68, which also brings me to the phenomenon of people that will follow me indefinitely, but as soon as I start to speed up, they pass. Anybody ever? Well, if you don't drive a truck, you probably haven't noticed that, but I am fascinated by that phenomenon. Like this guy who was behind me, happy to follow me at 68, but as soon as I started to speed up, he pulled out the pass. It's interesting. Is it just the fact that something has changed in the environment? I find that curious. Now, is this way station open? Is the question. I don't think it is. Well, I'm not even saying drugs are bad, by the way. I'm talking about drugs in specific instances. But psych meds are bad. I mean, I don't think that's a question. I don't think that's debatable. Now, I think they can be beneficial in the short term if people are so fucked off that they need something to get them over the hump. I'm sure they have their uses temporarily. It's this idea of now just the person starts out with one script, and then over time that literally becomes they're on 7 different things, including literal antipsychotics. But prescribed off label for to deal with some of the side effects of the other 6 medications. And many folks have just gotten off of all their meds and realized, well, yeah, they still have issues and they're still dealing with stuff, but they're way better off than they were when they were on the 7 different medications. And by the way, literally every fucking pill, a medication, a pharmaceutical drug, they're 100% of them are liver toxic, across the board. If it comes in a pill form and it's a med, that's bad for your liver. Period. There's no getting around that. That's right. Weed and drink. And I never had problems. It never caused me issues. I'd like to get the little beer buzz first and then smoke the weed. So drink like half a 24 ounce and then start smoking. Either way, they both hit pretty quick. So, but meanwhile, I don't know. I'm the type of person that I can take one sip of alcohol and I get a head change. Like one sip of alcohol, I can immediately I start feeling some type of way, and I can be shit faced drunk and have complete control of my locomotion, and people that don't know me can't tell I'm intoxicated. But if I drink 2 beers, I get slurred speech. Like, what is that? But then I can be on 10 beers and do a fucking podcast or a live stream and have like more or less. I can hear in my voice that I'm altered, but I can actually have a good diction, versus 2 beers and I'm slurring my words. Like, what's up with that? What's happening, Clay? Oh, 0.5 bit. Yeah, there you go. 0.5 bit. Perhaps not. Oh. Well, I'm going to drop the link just in case anybody feels like having a chat. If I can even do that. And if any of our mods want to pin that, I don't know if your mod wrench allows you to do that. I'm fairly ignorant of these things, but if anybody feels like pinning that, please feel free. If it will let you. Actually, I guess I can. It's off the screen. Never mind. How about you do it yourself there, Bubba? So now I'm looking at, you know, now if my dispatcher comes up with some kind of load for me over the weekend, I'll certainly take it. But I'm now wondering if I get all the way through today and they don't tell me anything. And that's the thing is they know I'm sick, but I almost never miss work because I feel bad. Like I think one time I was just like, look, I'm not feeling it today. I'm just gonna lay around and rest up. You know, see, I can always pull that card as long as I don't use it too much. So I could just tomorrow they could they think I'm delivering tomorrow. I could just wake up and be like, drive half the shift and then park somewhere and say I'm not feeling good, which by the way will be the truth. I really won't be feeling good, and I can pretty much just do whatever the fuck I want. So like Croco says, I think it's your truck. I mean, it kind of is at this point, right? Except for the fucking now the heater doesn't work for the APU, and it's like I'm not able to idle the engine. Maybe I could spend the weekend trying to find a bribable Kenworth technician who will flash the computer for me. He'll crank this bitch up to 75 and make it where it'll idle. There's got to be somebody who'll do that for $100. Hey, how about you take that laptop home with you after your shift? Bring it to the truck stop. How about you? Oh, are we back to things Benton can do? What? I don't even know what I said, Eve. What was I bragging on now? I don't even remember. That one must have just slipped right by me. I didn't even notice. Or you just mean me strategizing about my work? Oh, pinning the link. Yeah, things Benton can do. Oh, nice. I see what you did there. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I wish you could have seen me dumping 12 ounces of coffee right all over the back of all over the sleeper, just more or less onto my bed. Yeah, that was quite hilarious. Yeah, that happens, John Lane. We're almost in St. Louis. We're in the greater St. Louis area, Mr. Wayne. About to be not too far from downtown, I don't think. Yep. Shutting down somewhere on the west side of Missouri today, most likely. Although I guess technically I could make it into Oklahoma. We'll see. This is really a 2-day run. I chose to turn it into 3 days because I arrived at the shipper Wednesday at 1:30 p.m. and I did well no Tuesday at 1:30 p.m. and I did not leave the shipper until I wasn't loaded until about 10:30 the next day, 10:30 a.m. So I was there like 21 hours. So the only way to then keep the run as a 2-day run would be to completely flip my sleep schedule around, which I'm just not going to do. Now they will figure that out eventually. Eventually, enough of these things will happen where they'll be like, "Oh, okay, no matter what happens, this fool's going to bed by 6 p.m." Period. End of story. I might on a rare occasion, I might work right up until bedtime, but I'm going to sleep at 6 p.m. by 6 p.m. every night. And if they don't like it, that is not my problem. But yeah, I don't care if people do drugs. Do all the drugs you want. That's your business. Yep, that's right. Misery to okay. Started the day in Effingham, Illinois. I'm sure Music Holds a Secret is familiar with Effingham. It's kind of a trucker crossroads, I guess, as it were. Yeah, there's downtown. I don't. You folks probably can't see it because of the shitty Motorola camera, but yeah, I can see the arch. Oh man, Riverboat Casino. They used to have. I don't know if it still runs here or not, but they had a. There was a PLO, pot limit Omaha poker game that used to run here like twice a week. I never played in it, but yeah, one of the best pot limit Omaha books was written by this guy who's from the St. Louis area, plays in that game. Man, these roads in St. Louis are fucked. All right, last cup of coffee. I guess we're only having three since one of them got spilled. Oh, no, that's well. Wait a minute. I'm trying to remember. I think I made extra coffee to make up. Yeah, that's never mind. This is the normal amount. Yeah, yeah. I ordered me some of that highfalutin, expensive gourmet coffee. So I'll be picking that up in Fort Worth. If the Amazon locker opens, last time I ordered stuff, the locker wouldn't open. Oh, and still haven't. Well, no, they finally refunded me for that. I'm still waiting on a refund for an order I had to cancel because the company had me switch trailers, which meant I wasn't going to be in Arizona in time to get the packages. That's how that works. My funds have been appropriated by the Amazonian government. St. Louis. Ain't much to look at nighttime. Albuquerque, probably the most visually appealing city at night that I've driven into, other than maybe, like not counting like a New York City, somewhere like that. Which I haven't been to I haven't been there that much. I'm trying to remember what it looks like at night driving in there. I really can't even remember. New York City. Get a rope. There's downtown. I mean, it really like doesn't even look that impressive, like even compared to like a Little Rock. It's like a slightly looks like downtown Little Rock, but it's like slightly larger. Take the arch away, that's more or less downtown Little Rock. This is a little bit bigger. Whoever designed these interchanges, this shit is fucked. I'm like driving through Memphis. Bam! Yeah, go buy you a $200,000 brand new big rig tractor so you can smash it into gigantic potholes in St. Louis. Great plan. Why not? Because the road, about half the roads in this country need to be replaced yesterday. Greatest country in the world, huh? Yep, make conspiracy schizo again. That's right. Well, that's the problem now that the conspiracies have gone mainstream. That means lowest common denominator. That means they have to be on the level that these bozos can interface with the general public, the bozos of the general public. So now it's balloons. Might as well just make it Happy Meals. Balloons. And fear mongering around, train derailment. And hazmat truck wrecks. Well, good. Triangle vortex. Awesome. And one of the things I failed to bring up to the front of the rig is water. Thirsty. I have no water in the back. Nowhere to stop for miles and miles and miles and miles and miles. So at 3 in the morning, I could probably get away with just stopping pretty much anywhere. St. Louis has a reputation for fucking with truck drivers, though. So probably better to just get the fuck out of here. Fucking hurting today, man. I think it's that good pain though. I think in the long run it's going to be better. But shoulder hurt, motherfucker. Ah, aches and pains. They got a pill for that too, don't they? Yeah, the arch. There's some conspiracies having to do with that thing. That's for sure. That thing is just bizarre in general. I remember at some point in my youth we went to St. Louis. I can't remember why, but I've been up in the arch. It's kind of a piece of shit, man. Really, I don't think I would do that again. I remember it just being kind of what just shabby. Shabby, that's the word for it. Shabby. Supplements? Well, that depends. Depends on what we're talking about. As far as your body's concerned, pretty much everything you eat is a drug. Think about it. Yeah, I've already had my B vitamins. Yeah, but then yeah, B vitamins very good. Oh yeah, Brisbane has a gateway arch. Interesting. Did not know that. Entering St. Louis County, city limit of Shrewsbury, 200 people. Yeah, vitamin D. My research indicates though that vitamin D is good, but the vitamin D3 can lead to vitamin A deficiency. I'm actually trying to back off the D a little bit, but the vitamin D3. Oh, vitamin D suppository. Oh, I see what you did there. Okay. I didn't read the whole comment. Yeah, vitamin D suppositories. There you go. I see what you did there. Name glorifying his lower chakras as he normally does. Speaking of the first McDonald's, that was an interesting movie. That whatever that was called, with Michael Keaton played Ray Kroc in the movie. That was a pretty good movie, I thought. Sorry for the dead air, folks. Preoccupied with when will I be able to pull over and get some water and relieve myself. Archangel, yeah, Archangel. Interesting. FM radio. Oh yeah, for the arch. I did not sleep very well, uncharacteristically for me. Although this managing this temperature is going to be a problem. So it was too warm for the level of clothing that I was attempting to go to sleep in because I knew it was going to get chilly at some point. But that was later on. So actually, this time of year, there'll be days when I need the heater and the air conditioner both in the same day in the truck here, especially with the greenhouse effect. Oh, Bronson, he said the cops would just kill you. I'm not sure if that would happen in the UK if they would just. I don't think the cops just kill folks quite as often over in the UK as they do over here. Good movie though. But yeah, based on a real guy. But that's cool that you saw it anyway. Music holds a secret. Well, to be fair, they did eventually. They kicked his ass a bunch of times, and then at some point they put him in a mental institution and sedated him with drugs. Let's not forget that. That's arguably a form of death, as far as I'm concerned. But oh, I'm sure they have access to guns. The bobbies, the cops, whatever they call them in the UK. I don't think they carry guns normally. I don't believe. I'm sure some of them. I'm sure they got SWAT, anti-terrorism units, and all of that. Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah. He narrates it from the stage. That's right. Well, it is just a show at some level. When I see a movie like that that's based on real events, I just assume that a lot of it is highly fictionalized, artistic license, as it were. Oh, butt plugs. Yeah. Well, I think we're almost out of St. Louis. Be in the outskirts for a minute. Can I stop here though? Oh shit! And this ain't the best, but it'll do. BRB, folks. No, my gigantic feet always is, even though I try to step very deliberately in this truck, my gigantic feet tend to catch all the cords anytime I have to move around in here. No, like I say, I had to climb in the back and get the water, grab the water. I'm parched. Thirsty, yes, very thirsty. Nothing like pissing out a bunch of protein, by the way. Lots of protein in the urine. Gotta love that. Wish I could find me a job where I could just have a. I'd like to just do the same run every night. Problem with those jobs is none of them are 7 days a week, and since they're 5 or maybe 6 days a week, they all work on maxing out the 14-hour, the 11-hour driving clock and the 14-hour on-duty clock. I really have no desire to drive 650 miles a day for 5 straight days. Not interested. Yeah, he doesn't know anything about anything. Right. There you go. Yep. Yeah, a lot of weird stuff with the numbers. A lot of times you'll be out in the middle of nowhere and the sign it'll be like 33 miles to this town, but then it's 66 miles to this other town. It's like, or it's like 11 miles to this next town, but it's 22 miles to this other town. It's like, really? Is that what we're doing? See a lot of that sort of thing. And then over where like QOC went to Penn State and Happy Valley, and there's Highway 322 runs right through there. US 322. Yeah, exactly. All that oil field stuff is great money, but you work just insane hours. That's pretty close to what I was working with this local job out of Arkansas hauling rice hulls. Damn near 16 hours a day. And they would let me work 7 days a week, but I was working more like 5 or 6, usually 6 actually. But the truck broke down and often enough gave me a break here and there. Or I would get to the place to unload, and the barn would be completely full, or the shed rather would be completely full, and would have to wait for the guy to show up and run the heavy equipment, the gigantic loader. Oh, and LOL Agriculture, by the way, they'll just let me drive. If I want to drive one of those gigantic loaders with no training, they'll just let me jump in and give it a shot, which is more or less how my foot got broken. They let a guy operate it who I was new on the job and didn't understand that he didn't know what the fuck he was doing. Fucker dropped me onto the concrete. Lucky I didn't shoot him in the foot. 630 feet tall. Interesting. The Gateway Arch. That's funny. This new KFC sandwich came out exactly 33 minutes ago. Like, how would he even know that? What is he talking about? That's hilarious. Anybody got anything? I've uncharacteristically run out of shit to say. Uncharacteristically run out of things to say. Yeah, there's a lot of signs and symbols out here, Frankel Vortex, that's for sure. Yeah, I'm not. What is Drew's prophecy? September, was it March 8th or something? What's that based on? I missed the whole deal there. Oh, well, now we're moving into the severe nausea phase of the illness. That's always fun. Gotta love that. I might have to start splitting some of these meals up. I think I'm just too much fat at one time now. No bueno. Oh, that's not this lane, no. Never mind. I misread the sign. It said right lane ends, but I didn't see that little baby lane over there. That's not even a lane. What are you talking about? And these bozos that drive these vans, these expediters, these guys can't drive for shit. Freaking bozos. Look at this bozo just fucking everything up. I get around this bozo. Not that he'll let us pass him. Watch this. He ain't gonna let us pass him. He might. Might. Yeah, get over there, bozo. He's being as annoying as he could possibly be. Could not possibly be more annoying if he tried. Imagine driving for a living and just being fucking terrible at it. Clay says pills cause ideation. That's interesting. I'm not quite sure what you mean by ideation. Sounds familiar. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Throw my food back. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Maybe later, if you get my meaning. What's up, D-Rex? Bang your head. Mental health will drive you mad. Bang your head. Mental health will drive you crazy. Mental health will drive you mad. Bang your head. Oh, these people, yeah, they just create traffic. It's hilarious. Like sometimes I'll be in Dallas driving and like there'll be backups and traffic, but the only reason is because like people are used to there being backups and traffic. It'll be some time of day where there's like really shouldn't be any traffic, but it's like we just make traffic for some reason. Yeah, it's I get a kick out of it. It's funny. 3:22 a.m. Central. Hey, I love that song. Yeah, it's a great song. Yeah, I listen to that every once in a while. That's a fucking badass song. Seal, Crazy by Seal. No, they do. Yeah, they make traffic. Shout out to We Free, by the way. Good to see you. Yeah, they just create traffic out of thin air. It's amazing. That's part of the reason I'm even taking this route because I could go down through Arkansas on 40 to 30. That actually is kind of a better route in some ways, but they've been having construction in Little Rock real bad, road construction. And then for some reason on I-40 between Memphis and Little Rock, like every time I go through there, there's a lot of trucks on that road, and for some reason, every time I go through there, if I have to drive in the daytime, it's like there'll be all these big backups, but then you get to the front of the backup and there's just like nothing there. Like that happened to me, I'm not even kidding, like 6 times one day, and I was just like, what is this? It's bad enough to have to wait through some traffic jam, and then you get to the front, it's like, oh, there's just nothing here. Like, well, how did this even happen? Yeah, manifesting traffic. That's right. Oh man. Somebody call in and save me here. I'm floundering. It's going to end up telling homeless stories at this rate. Shout out to the chat, by the way. Where are we going to get fuel? That's the question. I got half a tank. Huh. And I guess I need to actually see what the prices are. Because now the company's become obsessed with getting the fuel as inexpensively as possible. Springfield. How many miles to Springfield? Let me see. Yep, 22 folks. Shout out. What's that link? Is that the seal? Crazy. Bang your head. Mental health will drive you mad. Bang your Try not to pass on the right. That's how that all happened. And I was slightly distracted trying to look at the fuel prices up ahead. It's all about the same in Missouri. Nope, I'm never going to the doctor unless, like I said, if I was to break a bone or have an actual accident. No, I do find it hilarious that people know just exactly how horrific and nightmarish the medical system is, especially after the events of the last 2 years. But then, when faced with an illness, they want me to go to the doctor. Like, why would I do that? That doesn't even make sense. Meanwhile, there's no treatment for what I have. I guess if I actually have pancreatic cancer, I guess technically there's. I'm not. By the way, I'm not going on fucking chemo, so that's pointless. But like chronic pancreatitis, there's no treatment for it. They can remove my pancreas, but that actually doesn't help me in any way, shape, or form. Like there's nothing the medical system can do other than ruin my quality of life. That's for what I have. That's realistically, that's all they can do. Is I do have a quality of life, and they will absolutely ruin it to make a profit. That's exactly what will happen if I go to the medical system. No, I will not be going to the doctors. Meanwhile, if I'd gone to them when I had my kidneys were all fucked, instead of telling me to drink baking soda, and then you'll be fine. Well, not fine, but you'll be no longer in metabolic acidosis a week from now. What they would have done is given me some kind of medication, hooked me up to some machines, put me on some IVs, and then they would have put me on dialysis. So I would be having to go, instead of driving a truck, I would be having to go several times a week to get hooked up to a machine to do the job that my kidneys are now doing effectively. Because I have a brain and I've managed this process to where now I have my kidney function, while not back, it'll never be back to normal. I'm probably CKD stage 2, which is more or less where most of the general public seems to exist at. So I'm more or less normal kidney function compared to the populace. I mainly just want to avoid diabetes, stave off the diabetes. Well, I mean, there is no care. That's the thing is, like, I don't believe the medical system represents care. I think it's funny how so many of us simultaneously believe we know all these horrible things about the system, but then we still believe this programming that the medical system represents care. Meanwhile, they literally tried to hook my mom up to a machine and give her drugs that would have killed her. And they knew that the ventilator plus remdesivir would have killed my mom, and they still tried everything in their power to do just that. See, that's not care. Hmm. Now, since she knew to say no to their machine, she did receive some care, But then, which, other than the oxygen, yeah, they gave her some care. They hooked her up to oxygen, which that presumably did help her in the long run. So I don't know. I guess it's both things at once. Some, like, they care for the individual in certain ways, but then they damage the individual in other ways. So yeah, it's not either way. It's not all horrible and it's not all good. It's like some combination of, we'll help you a little bit on the one hand, and then we'll ruin your fucking life on the other hand. Diabolical, really. Oh, not a fan of Tinsel TQ, their name? I'm driving, we're driving Kenworth, actually. We're driving Packard. Yeah, driving Mac. I've never driven a Mac, although Volvo owns Mac, so I'm assuming they're similar trucks. Well, Name doesn't. He isn't really gracious with his presence all that much anyway. Nice of him to hang out for the amount of time that he did. But yeah, for what I have, it's pretty much uh, pain pills, digestive enzymes, which I already take on my own, uh, chemo potentially, and then remove your pancreas, and dialysis. Don't forget the dialysis, and then probably try to get me on insulin for diabetes. Although I don't have diabetes, I'm sure they can maneuver things in that direction eventually. I don't want nothing to do with it. But I do think that a lot of people have some, at a human level, have some kind of need to go into a system to try to seek some kind of resolution. Like, I just don't operate that way. I don't believe there is such a thing. I mean, it all resolves when I die. That's everything, right? Like, there is an ending. It's called death. But I certainly recognize that, although not the folks that come to this channel, but if you look at the masses, especially in the U.S., that they really don't understand. It's like they know that there's such a thing as death, but they really don't. I think they really do secretly fantasize that they will actually live forever. And I think that's a lot of the stuff around the events of the last few years. It's like, if everybody thinks they're immortal, but then, oh, now there's this thing that could cause death, meaning the coup, or whatever we're calling it. Well, of course they're terrified of it, because some of that is based on this irrational fantasy of, well, in fact, they think they're going to live forever unless there's some kind of accident occurs, right? And I think this idea of the medical system is a big part of that. Well, okay, well, you're not feeling good, go to the medical system, they'll fix you right up. It's like, yeah, I don't feel great, but I'm able to outwork most folks. My brain still works. I feel pretty good, except when I'm not feeling good. So I know that if I go into the system, none of that will improve. Like, could they maybe extend my life? Possibly. Maybe. And then, people don't want to face the possibility of, a prolonged period of severe agony and pain before one dies, right? Well, I would rather go through 2 weeks of excruciating physical pain than to go into hospice where all they're going to do is give me a bunch of sedatives, and then eventually, once I get sick enough, the somebody will overdose me on opiates, and then I won't even really even be conscious of my death. Like I would like to. Can I at least be conscious when I pass? And we want to talk about this, the soul trap and all of these things. Well, don't I need to be clear headed going into that? I mean, let's. What else is going to make me more clear headed than some prolonged period of physical agony? I bet you I'm going to be very, very, very aware of what's going on. Versus, okay, well, he's been lying in bed on sedatives for a month, and then now, okay, it's fine. He's finally sick enough where we feel like we can just give him, we'll just give him too many opiates, and now will stop his breathing through an opiate overdose. And that's more or less what hospice is, as far as I can tell. And then people want to scoff at this, states like Oregon doing this, right to die stuff. But it's like, well, I mean, we already do that nationwide, but we call it hospice, and we just pretend like it's not somebody just making me as comfortable as possible until they feel like I'm sick enough to OD me on opiates. I mean, how is that good? I don't get it. Maybe it's the autism, but that just doesn't seem like something good to me. Yeah, JG, good old JG. That's right. They don't want me to be conscious. Exactly. See, if I got to go, thank you, Tinsel TQ, and this is my life. I've been here for all this time. If I got to go through 3 weeks of excruciating pain in order to get to experience that release of DMT upon death, if that's a thing, why would I allow that to be subverted? So what's the point of being a so-called truther and learning about all these things, but then being a weak bitch at the end of my life and going into the medical system to get sedated and OD'd on opiates? Fuck that. I'm crossing over whole. And let them remove my organs one by one and hook me up to machines so they can bill Medicare and Medicaid. Not interested. That holds no appeal. Oh, so I can avoid some pain? Well, I'm pretty sure I can, whatever that pain is, I'm pretty sure I can handle it. It's called force of will, Jack. Yeah, can we offer you some absolution of responsibility? Exactly. And let's face it, everybody's mostly concerned about themselves. So yeah, make me comfortable so my loved ones don't have to all day, every day think about their loved one in excruciating pain. But then bingo bango, now I don't get my DMT release and I'm just off in la la land. Fucking, we all live in a yellow submarine in some kind of warm dream. And if the soul trap is a thing, well, I'll probably just end up right back here. Or maybe I can get the fuck up out. So yeah, I think it's worth it. A period of excruciating pain. If at the end of the day I get out of this, whatever this is, let me ascend to the next level. That involves pain, and hell, I'm in pain right now. It already involves pain. What are we talking about? Yeah, I wanna be sedated. Well, I was sedated for months. alcohol. So I don't want to be sedated. No desire. Amazing. Yep, that's right. Nothing to do, nowhere to go. You said it. Might as well deal with the here and now then, right? Yeah, that is a real question, Clay. No, you cannot offer me absolution of responsibility. Not interested. It doesn't alter my trajectory. Not in this. Not in the short term. It hasn't. Although I was in sick in bed for probably about 6 weeks before I was able to go back to truck driving. I was just. I was up. Well, I was up out of bed like in the middle part of the day, but I was sleeping about 10 hours. Getting about 10 hours of sleep every night. Just out too, man. That deep restful sleep is out, dead to the world. Well, more like 8 hours. Yeah, like well, no, yeah, 8 to 9, more in there. Probably 9 hours. Excuse me. Pardon me. How rude. It's just pain. And people are like, oh yeah, wait till the end or whatever. I'm like, yeah, but I'm in a decent amount of pain now. Like, is more pain really going to be unbearable? I mean, I think to a lot of people, my current level of pain would probably be unbearable. Like, if I can deal with this, I reckon I can deal with that. Just this, but worse. Well, that's true. Yeah, that's right. Oh man, how was your stream last night? I haven't watched it yet. That'll probably be up next for me. I was too tired to do a pregame, but I don't think he really needs it anymore. I think seems like he's doing pretty good numbers over there. Good old Austin. I had me a vision. There wasn't any television from looking into the sun. From looking into the sun. Oh, really? That's interesting. Provo and Tommy, eh? That's pretty cool. It's an interesting combination. Looking forward to checking that out. Shout out to our boy in a yurt with books. It got stupid after Tom left. Yeah, it'll be a lot of things if Tom's there. It ain't gonna be stupid. Oh, Christos, yeah, in a thought yurt with book experiments. Ugh. Man, I do kind of want to quit my job, but I really I'm just not able to bring myself to buy a car. I'm not wanting a car whatsoever. I guess I pretty much have to keep truck driving until I'm too sick to drive because I don't think that's probably not that far off, actually, realistically speaking. So I probably need all this time off that I've been getting. Oh, I feel like just parking and going back to bed. Not that there's anywhere to park at 3:50 a.m. Almost time to eat again, though. Well, that's a good question, Clay. I happen to subscribe to. There was a movie my grandmother likes. I think it's The Apostle, I believe, with Robert. What's that guy's name? Robert Duvall. And I think it's Harvey Keitel was in that movie, and at a certain point, he's like, "Death ain't much." I might be combining two different movies, though. I do that in my head sometimes, but I think that's the same movie. I think that's all the same movie. That's my view of it. I don't think there's much to it, really, personally. I think we build it up into this big thing that I probably ain't much. I fully accepted my mortality a long time ago, and then after what's happened over the last several years, I'm not. I'm strong-willed to live, but I'm not really trying to hang out anyway, to be honest with you. And this is kind of what I asked for on some level. Like, be careful what you wish for; you might just get it. There's nothing like being a bit of a ascetic monk by nature and being forced into more or less that thing. I certainly wasn't ever going to achieve these levels of asceticism on my own. And I'm talking more about the arduous practices versus just the self denial. Oh, Tommy, yeah, people sick of Tommy. Yeah. For some reason, Tommy just has to, like, he has to find that, like, he can be very endearing and, he can endear himself, but then he has to find that thing where he's going to start to repel people for whatever reason. And I have a little bit of that myself, but not like he does, which is probably a good thing in the long run. That's probably another guy that could start a cult if he wanted to. I don't know, name is he? What's your beef with Tinsel? We got some past life regressions there, Tranquil Vortex. Tranquil Vortex may have memories of her past lives, it sounds like. Which I think is probably a thing for some folks, I'm guessing. Hard to say for sure. Yeah, do you know the way to San Jose? Oh, I see. Wow, that's pretty wild. Three deaths in this lifetime. That's about two more than I'm expecting to experience. I hope they don't try to bring me back when I go. Just let me go. I don't bring me back. My great grandmother, she was on her way out, and they brought her back, and I don't think it was a good thing in the long run. Grandma Buffington, that was her name. I didn't really know her. I got to hang out with her a little bit. She lived in a slum in Benton, Arkansas, by the way, down in the down by the shacks where the satellite dishes grow, where people's car is much nicer than their shack, and then they had a gigantic. Most of them had a gigantic satellite dish in the yard back then. And a fallen down trailer. So we'd go visit occasionally. One of my cousins decided to show off and went to speaking on tongues and acting all crazy. That was quite off-putting to a young, I don't know, probably 10-year-old Benton. Hey, all right, we got a backstage. All right, yeah, buddy. Tranquil backstage. What's happening, Tranquil Vortex?
G'day, how you going, Benton?
You're here. Hey, what's going on? How are you?
Good, mate. How you going, Benton? You all
Hey,
right?
hey. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, good. You were talking about death, and
Yeah.
it's always an interesting subject for me.
You've been through it a few times, it sounds like.
Yeah. When I was 3, I had croup and I died. They had to resuscitate me and bring me back. When I was 16, I had sepsis, and I was in hospital with sepsis, and I had a cardiac arrest 2 days in a row.
Goodness.
And yeah. So I've literally died 3 times. So the third time they're coming back, I did have like that out of body thing where, down on your body and stuff. And it was weird. Like, I don't know, people just go, oh, yeah, right. But it's true. Like, the lead up to my death hurt a lot. Sepsis is no joke.
Yeah,
It's
I bet.
all of your body systems shutting down. So that was very painful. And yeah, the heart attack, my system's just went, that's it, enough. You've got a central line in your heart with 3 different infections in it. Cardiac arrest, that's it. Beep, there's your line.
Huh. Yeah.
So yeah, so I do know death. And I also have held my grandfather and my grandmother as they passed over. So, wherever they went to, I don't know. But my grandfather decided that he was not going to go to the hospital. He wanted to die on his own terms. He was 96 years old. And he said no. So for the first time he tried to die, he stopped eating for 28 days. The second time he tried to die, he stopped drinking and eating for 11 days. And that was the time when we finally, after holding him for 11 days, when I asked him, do you want to go to the hospital? He said, yes. That was after 11 days. Being at home in bed, sitting there with him, literally holding his hand, and, he's dying, Then they do smell different when they're dying. I've worked in aged care. People smell different when they're dying. It's a different thing. It and the compassion that that people who have that are around people who are dying is phenomenal to me. The hospices may not be the perfect place, but the nurses that looked after Granddad when we came into the hospital that's up the road here from me now that I have to go to. That's where my granddad died, but that's where I get to go to get fixed. It's just what it is, but they were amazing. They said, okay, they got a quiet room. They let us play his favorite music. Not let us. I put the bloody music on. I said, this is what's happening in this room. Put his music on. This is about him, what he wants to do. My mum is amazing. She was there, and we just watched him pass. We held his hand. They were amazing. The staff as well. So I get where you get scared kind of at the end, and people want to die in bed at home. At the very end, that's what we really thought Granddad wanted as well. And he pushed till the end. There was nothing left. He's the most stubborn man I have ever met in my life.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can palm a basketball. I've never seen anyone with bigger hands than my grandfather. He was 6'4", huge man, and one of the most amazing human beings I have ever met. It was an honor to have sat by him while he passed over. So when I talk about that, it's it really is like real life experiences. So yeah, if you want to ask me any questions as well, you can.
Yeah, I don't think I know any questions, but that's definitely very interesting. So I just like hearing the story is interesting.
Yeah, his leader was his choice. He'd done a stint in aged care for a bit. None of us liked that. I didn't want it. I spent a lot of time being, with him anyway, because he's, awesome bloke. But even as, just someone to talk about. I mean, his book on fascism, we were sitting there reading that in 2018, having a chat about it. And he said, yeah, you take this home, you have a read of this, girl. And I said, okay, Granddad, I'll read this book about fascism. He said, that Mussolini, he said, that's what's happening now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
He knew. He's been through 1927 he was born. So the end of one world war, then went through the second one. So he knew all about suffering and all that. He knew what pain was after smashing his arm in the mines, down the coal mines, and just strong and stubborn. And I love it.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm pretty glad that I got that too. I got the strong and stubborn.
So. Yeah, it's a good traits to have, I think.
Yeah. I know sometimes it's got me in trouble, but that's all right. There's no harm in saying I'm sorry, I got it wrong.
That's right. Yep, I know what you mean.
I'm enjoying your drive today, but your roads, mate, out there.
It's terrible. Yeah, these roads are horrible. I know. Like this just about everywhere. It's unusual if it's a good road. That's unusual.
The same here. It's
terrible.
Yeah, I just it's like watching the world kind of, just spiral downwards a bit at the moment. And it's not what I expected at this age of my life, I guess. Just kind of expected things to be like more than they were in the 80s. Like 80s felt great, I guess. Maybe I grew up in the 80s. Yeah. It felt great. I was a kid. Maybe I just didn't notice the shit roads. Who knows?
Yeah, well, that's probably true. Well, it's way more noticeable in a big rig than it is in a car.
Yeah, I remember my grandparents, my nana, my papa, they had a Valiant. I really enjoyed going out in the old Valiant. I don't know what you.
Yeah.
You have Valiants over there, probably.
I think so. I'm not really sure.
But, just comfortable with actual seats that had springs in them and suspension.
Yeah. Riding
they
on
made cars that were comfortable to drive, not just light and cheap to make. I guess I'm just old school.
That's right. Nothing wrong with that.
I like it when my kid calls me based, though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't take much to be based anymore, though, does it?
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true.
I mean, I'm not trying to
saying the
negate what
truth
you're
equals,
saying,
but
but
yeah, talking about the truth and being
yeah,
truthful is based. And how did that happen? It's like,
yeah,
what? Yeah, yeah,
yeah. Basic, but yeah, it's. I know what you
yeah,
mean.
yeah. So you're feeling? I know you said ginger. You don't like ginger, do you, for your tummy? For the
Oh, there's
nausea?
just nothing to do, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's nothing that makes it better. You know what I mean?
Nah.
It's mainly, it would be way worse if I wasn't avoiding. You know, most people are just not able to adhere to a strict regimen. So
Yeah.
it's mainly just that it's already as good as it can be. So there's really nothing that can improve it at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like that with my back. There's nothing but surgery now.
Which
So.
wouldn't even help. Yeah. Oh, your back, you mean? Is that what you said? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I've got spinal stenosis and narrowing of my foraminal narrowing. It's exciting stuff. Basically, my nerves are getting and my spine's getting crushed by my vertebrae.
Damn.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, you know, we're all pretty well fucked up. It seems like I'm definitely not the only one.
I just got effing broken. It's great.
Yeah. No kidding.
Did I meet an entity or hear or see anything? Clay asked. No, I
Yeah.
didn't. When I left my body, I looked down and I could see my mum in the room because she was in the room at the time. And then there were the doctors and nurses kind of running around going crazy or trying to do something. But I couldn't see anything. It was me. There was a light above me. I could see a light above me. Everyone talks about the light. And the light was the same thing that was streaming from my mum to me. That looked like love to me. It felt like love. It looked like love. I don't know if that was a soul trap thing or what now. I question everything now. So it's like, what I saw, was it real? Was it designed to keep me here? No idea. But this time round, I don't really want to come back. So, you know, I don't want to come back if that's the case. I'm going to see if I can find a different way out. And that's all I can,
Yeah. Yep. I hear you on that.
Yeah. It's only because I've died that I came on to talk to you about it. Like it's, at 3 years old, I died from croup, which is like when you cough, you get like a cough and you can't breathe properly.
Okay.
So they revived me at my grandparents' house and they put me in a humidity crib for 3 days in the hospital. That's like a humidity crib. They make it a humid environment so you can breathe more easily.
Oh, okay.
Tent. In the old days, you'd make a little tent. I don't know what they do nowadays, but so in the old days, in the early 70s, I should say. So it's just interesting to have looked back and gone, hey, like my life's been amazing. Like, not only have I died, but I've given birth. Like, what the heck? This body's amazing. How cool is that?
Yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Your body's the same, you can ride a skateboard, you can drive a truck. That hashtag things Benton can do.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Things Tranquil Vortex
I actually have He Bear, She Bear sitting over here that I was reading to my granddaughter the other day, the Berenstein Bears.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's talking about that Mandela effect thing, and I've literally got the book from 1970-something, my original one, He Bear, She Bear, and I'm reading it to my 3.5-year-old granddaughter. So I don't know what the Mandela effect thing was, where it was an E or an A or something in the spelling, and it all changed, or if it was just how it was when I got my book, because I don't remember. He Bear, She Bear. That's all I know. That's what it was. My granddaughter thinks it's a bloody fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had some of those books when I was a child. I
I
remember them
think that
being
again,
around.
that predictive programming was in them. Now I look at them now and I read them, I think, oh, that's really interesting. They put that, and that in there, and I see that here now. So I think there is definitely something to that.
Yeah, I think so too.
But like, I'm not the smartest person in the world. I'm not, I don't notice everything, but I pick up on things pretty quickly. Like if it feels wrong, so tend to go with it feels right.
Yes. Intuition.
Yeah, trust your gut. And I mean, if you haven't got a healthy gut, fix your gut so you can trust your gut.
True. Very true.
It's not that hard. Eat some fermented things.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
It's pretty basic stuff. Nana, things nanas know.
That's right.
All right, man, I'm going to stop bloody yakking on because I'm.
Oh, you're good. I'm just
Yeah, you're right.
kind of in the zone, you know.
Yeah. You've got a nice bit of road for. I'm actually enjoying this bit of road. It's nice.
Yeah. Now that I'm out of the city, it's not so bad. Yeah, this is very hilly through here, but you can't really see the hills at night, so it's
Yeah.
kind of a
And
different experience.
your truck's an automatic.
Oh yeah. Well, they're all manuals. They all have clutches, but
Right.
it's an automated manual, so it's actually the same transmission as before, but the truck shifts itself. But it's not like your
Nice.
car, like an automatic car has a lockup torque converter instead of a
Yep.
clutch. These still have clutches.
Right.
So yeah,
Which makes it better in the lower gears too, doesn't it?
I would imagine. Yeah, I'm assuming.
I'm just
I think
imagining. My
Mac
brain
makes a
went
heavy
all like
duty. Yeah,
my brain went all sciency, and yeah, it's not that smart to know enough to
there you
talk
go.
about it.
Well, I
I
mean,
do
it's
enjoy
fairly basic
science.
stuff.
Yeah, I enjoyed it at school. Chemistry was, one of my favorite subjects. I quite enjoyed chemistry. So that was,
Okay.
and woodwork and metalwork. I really liked woodwork and metalwork. They were two of my favorite subjects, and I was only allowed to do them for a year because that was just the way our schooling worked. Whereas I would have preferred to work on the lathes, metalworking and, woodworking a lot longer. It seemed that the boys were allowed to do that, but the girls weren't. Even like I was like, but I want to learn how to make that, something different from a plumb bob. The plumb bob was great, but like there's heaps more things I want to make. So
Okay.
anyway, that doesn't mean I can't learn now.
That's right.
It's
You do whatever you want to
you
do.
know, that's right. My grandfather got his degree from university at 60.
Oh wow.
Yeah, he went to university and went and got a degree.
What was the
Bachelor
degree
of
in?
Arts.
Oh, okay.
Bachelor of Arts in Australian Studies.
Huh.
Yeah, just decided that's what he wanted to do. Good on you, Granddad. Very proud of him. So I've seen both my father and my grandfather graduate from university, and my daughter. Yeah, it's such a lovely thing to see someone achieve their goal and to be there to support them. It was really nice. A lot of work involved in going through it, as you know.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't have a degree, but I went to college.
So college in America, is that university?
Yes, same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I went to a university, but for some reason we call it going to college. I'm not sure why, but we do.
Yeah, it's weird, eh?
Yeah, it is strange. Yeah.
Because to us here, college is TAFE, which is a step down from university.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I don't know why they call it college. I have no idea, but I went to a university, a 4-year university. So I don't know.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, well, that would be a degree. Yeah, we'd call that a university. Yeah, my daughter did 4 years of vet tech. So she's happily working with animals. And another daughter did just an AIN, which is an assistance in nursing. And then she decided that babies were much more fun. So she had babies instead.
Yeah, there
And
you go.
yeah, my son's in construction, driving forklifts and doing all sorts. So he's out there driving a forklift today.
Okay.
Yeah, he's enjoying that.
Well,
It's
good.
just
As
nice.
long as he likes it.
Yeah, he likes working with the machines. He learned how to use a digger and I don't know, a couple of other big machines. But most of them here are owned, like owner operated and owned. So it's difficult to get hands-on experience
Oh, okay.
and get your hours up kind of thing. So people will go, oh yeah, no worries, you go dig that hole there. Make sure you don't, But he knows how to do most things on like the construction sites and that, civil labourer. And he's 3 years into a degree in civil engineering.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
Pretty cool.
hubby's 2 years into a degree in law.
Yeah. Maybe he can
When
rebuild
they
these
said
roads.
the jabby was necessary, he said, you know where you can stick that, and walked away. So Australia decided that their universities would do that, and he went, nah, see us, learn law online. That's what I'll do instead. So, yeah, when they zigged, we zagged.
That's right.
It is what it is, like there's people who just don't want to do the mainstream thing. But you might want to go to university, but there's other things you don't want to do. So, and they made it really difficult here. You couldn't do anything. I imagine the same thing over there. Can't bloody do anything. Can't go anywhere. It's like, okay, well, I'm happy not to go to your designated entertainment zones. Thanks.
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah, thanks for nothing.
Yeah.
Up against a FedEx truck, mate. Vroom, vroom.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. FedEx they're the largest. Them and UPS are the largest in the United States for motor carriers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're the two largest trucking companies, FedEx and UPS.
I was looking at the Tesla truck today. I had a look at that because Tommy was talking about
Yeah.
Tesla stocks, and he said that he was going to wait to see if when the truck came out, whether he wanted a truck or not. So I went and had a look and thought, oh, what does that look like?
Oh, you're talking about the pickup.
Oh,
pickup,
okay.
The Cybertruck.
Yeah,
because they make a big rig now. Tesla does.
That's what I was looking at.
Yeah.
It's schmick.
Yeah, I think Tommy's talking about the Cybertruck, which is a pickup truck.
Right. I'd like to turn that big rig into a mobile home.
Well, you could, yeah.
Yeah, my thoughts are like, ooh, we could have a home in that. Just park anywhere.
Yep,
Solar's on the roof. We're good to go.
Yeah, I'm sure some people will.
I reckon they will, especially because you can, they're deep cycle batteries, aren't they? So they call them the lithium.
I'm not sure, honestly.
I think Tommy's the man to talk to about that, seeing he's got a
probably.
Yeah, but I might have to wait another day for that because it's getting late here. And if Tommy comes on, I'd love to talk to him about it. I don't really know that much, and my hubby, who's building the bus, would be more the man to yak.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the bus. Yeah, I forgot
yeah.
all about that.
Well, we've got the batteries. We got them in before kind of everything hit the fan. I think, hopefully, they're here and the inverter's here, so. That's kind of the main bits. Like once you got them, you can do what you need to do. I'm excited and nervous at the same time. We've never done anything like this. Stuff it. Who cares? Like people move all the time. People do different stuff all the time. My daughter's like, "What are you doing, Mom? Like you're gonna live in a bus." I said, "Well, I sit in a bed all day. I'd rather have a different view. I'd rather go to the beach and open up the back of the bus and have a look out at the sea, watch the mountains one day, the sea the next, go to the desert. look at the different places in the world. Yeah, it's going to be different, but it's bloody boring right now.
Yep, very much so.
so, so yeah, let's get out there and explore the world. I don't know what they're going to do with all the diesel and all of that kind of thing and how long that'll take. Probably about 10, 15 years, I reckon, before they start phasing things out here, maybe.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I'm not sure.
Well, they've put all the electric car chargers in, just like they did across America, so that you can go around. They're doing that here in Australia too.
Oh, okay.
At a fast pace. So those SDGs that we signed up to, the Sustainable Development Goals, apparently they're pretty important, and we're racing towards them head on.
I see.
Yeah, well, they decided that that's why we were going to do it, and they did call it lockstep. So I don't think they've gotten out of lockstep yet. They didn't even. It's not recess. This is this is just what we can't see.
Mm-hmm.
The quiet little bit, the calm before the storm.
There you go. That's right.
Before I start making stupid dad jokes, I'm going to go.
All right. Good talking to you.
It's good talking to you, mate.
Thanks for stopping by.
Safe travels. See ya.
Oh, yeah. All right. Bye-bye. That was Tranquil Vortex. Glad she joined us. Got us caught up. And what's going on in Australia. Down under. I'm trying to maintain. I'm experiencing some fairly strong nausea, so please bear with me, folks. I'll be all right, but stuff gets fairly severe at times. There's some talk about the Berenstain Bears book down here in the chat. Well, we got no shoulder and we got a big drop off, so I guess I need to pay attention to my driving here shortly. In the near term, in the short term, rather. I should have received my paycheck by now. Usually I've gotten paid by now already. What's up with that? Let me check my account here. Yep. Nope, haven't paid me yet. That's unusual. I think I remember like one time I didn't get paid till Friday, but I almost always get paid. Every once in a while Wednesday night, but it almost always gotten paid by this time of morning on Thursday. That's a bit curious. Yeah, that's right. Well, these trucking companies have a tendency to sometimes they like to not pay the driver when we get near if it gets near the time where they think I'm going to quit or if they're going to try to get rid of me, one of the two, which is always possible. I did give one of our account managers an earful the other day. So you never know, but that's always a clue when employment's going a certain kind of way. Trucking companies are notorious for trying to steal the driver's last paycheck or so. Shout out to D Rex in the chat. Good to see you, sir. But there's times the check's been this late, so it's just usually I'm paid by now, typically. But yeah, see, Berenstain, AIN. That's how I always remembered it from when I was a kid. Stain, Berenstain Bears. Yeah, that's some sort of owner operator or lease program that Music Holds the Secret's talking about. I'm a company driver. They got to pay me every week, whether they get their money or not. None of my concern. That's the company's problem. Shit, I guess I'm out of shit to say again. I'll probably shut it down. We'll see if somebody else wants to come bail me out for a little while. If anybody wants to have a chat. If not, I'm going to go watch Yurt from last night. Yeah, owner operator. That's right. Yeah, probably made some money. Probably made some money doing that, I reckon. Oh, all right. That's enough out of me. Thanks for watching. Bye.